see, my eyes just don't know. I don't know. I'm looking, yeah.
Mark Clark, that's classic. I love it.
And welcome to the show. What is going on 2023? Bootsy Vegas is in the building, ladies and gentlemen. What's going on, Mr. Vegas?
Yay, yer. What's up, my brother?
Lights a little hot. Let me calm it down a little bit. So, Bootsy Vegas got a shout out, www.rocksolidreboot.com. It's juicy January. And my man Rock, huh?
I've been seeing you on it, baby. I'm motivated.
Yeah. My man Rock got this amazing juice, man. Juice smoothies, bowls. I'm on the 2023. You know how it is, Boots. You gotta reset, re-clean it all out. You know what I'm saying? Been busy. Yeah. You know, we've been grinding, and so health is first. And this year, I'm gonna be meatless this year, Bootsy. Why not?
Ooh, okay.
Meatless in 2023. So welcome. We got bigger and better plans this year.
Yeah, we do.
Couple things happen. Now, I don't know when you'll be watching this. And again, this is, this show we pre-recorded. So as of now, Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin remains hospitalized in critical condition. A crazy scene,
man.
I don't think I've ever seen. But first of all, Bootsy, it's interesting when you're older and you've lived a long life. You have seen some crazy scenarios. I mean, they're from Darryl Stingley to many others we've seen people paralyzed on the football field. But this was different. I think this was the first time. One of the first times in my memory where we saw somebody who possibly, we're talking about life or death.
Right.
And that energy was, I don't think I recall ever seeing that before.
What was your initial reaction? Did you realize what it was early, or it kind of took you a minute to figure it out?
I think I did. I thought it was bad early because when that collapse piece, anytime somebody collapses, then you're kind of like, if it's anything else, I mean, that scared me. That did scare me. When I saw the collapse, that really scared me. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't think I was thinking heart, but I just knew it was bad, and, as we're broadcasters, you see what happens. Like at the end of the day, these live broadcasts, you're only prepared so much. I mean, you're prepared for things to go down from a sports situation.
Right.
You're not necessarily prepared for life or death. And you kind of saw the difference between those who were kind of the seasoned pros who had words and then those who did not, right? And they didn't know where to go. I mean, it was almost like, there's not much to talk about. So where do we go here? Where do we go now? And I just thought about it, Boots, even though you're a young man, and we're a generation of broadcasters. And I think the one thing that we are armed with is words, and I think a lot of times, even people on certain platforms at the higher levels may or may not be able to, when something happens. I never forget when Howard Cosell, when he had announced the passing of, I forgot, was it the president? Something tragic happened, and it was Monday Night Football, and he had to then put on the hat of, in a sense, news anchor to kind of tell the world, tell America the news, and he had the words to do it. Again, I'm not being critical. I'm just saying, just kind of like the reality. I think as a broadcaster, Boots, I know you were paying attention to that too, like how different people handle it today. And again, you may be watching this at a later date, so I'm sorry about that. But today we saw on a sports show, brothers prayed. And it was funny because again, I thought Bootsy again. Now, of course, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to say anything. I'm not trying to start a debate. But the fact that it was a young white man praying, on a show, I thought, it was one of those kind of wow, because again, I mean, and again, this sounds stereotypical, but because the Black church is such a part of our community and part of our culture, a Black man praying is kind of like this is what we do. A young white guy praying on a sports show is pretty much fish out of water.
Right. But what I did take from it was the brotherhood of being an NFL player.
Exactly.
And him understanding and empathizing with that, like knowing what the process is to get there, but also knowing how you are responsible for a bunch of people, how it's affected people. So I kind of took it as a little, I'm not going to lie, it caught me strictly by surprise. But I kind of understood eventually, okay, well, I kind of understood where, when I heard him speak about it, I'm like, it comes from like me, you talking about a sense of community of broadcasters. It was a sense of community of football players, of people who know what it takes to get there. So, yeah.
Yes. And it is good insight because, again, it was human beings. We all felt it. But it is a different insight into as a player, because again, obviously one of the questions, and I think Skip Bayless got dragged because of people thought his tweet was insensitive. The business/sports question was, well, what are we gonna do now? And it's just almost like, as Big Mama says, you gotta read the room. You gotta know when to ask certain questions, and that wasn't the time. The timing was terrible. It was a legitimate question. A little bit concerned, but the only thing we should focus on is the health of this young man. That's all pretty much everybody's, I'm sorry, Bootsy, I can't hear you. Can you click off and click on? Yeah, for some reason, they had a little technical difficulty there. Bootsy will hop back on. But yeah, the Skip Bayless situation is kind of like, you do have to read the room. You do have to, in a super sensitive situation, nobody really wants to talk about, the nuts and bolts of the business. You back?
Yes. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yes, sir.
So I didn't take Skip comments as kindly as you did. I did not think that. I thought he was very insensitive. And I thought he said his initial reaction, but he cleaned it up at the end with but we gotta. And I do think that Skip knows he can get away with some things. He's always had privilege. And to me, your first reaction is always your real reaction. And what Shannon said to him today really, really resonated. But I mean, and the thing about it is, I like Skip. So I think with Skip and Shannon, I think a lot of that stuff people think is going on, I think it's played up. I think they understand the thing of going back and forth, getting people to reaction, getting people to tune in. But I thought today's interaction was some real genuine stuff when he talked about his brother almost not being paralyzed and so it was very interesting. And I just thought that Skip was really insensitive, and I thought he ended it with but that's not the most important thing, because he knew he could end with that, and that would get him away from everything. I thought he was really insensitive, and I actually thought that he may get his job, and that is a prime example of white privilege in media. Because if a black person would have said that about a white athlete, that would have been he would have been done.
Yeah. Well, and the funny part is, especially when you watch the show and you watch a Shannon Sharpe, who, as we say, has the receipts as far as you talk about his ability, what he did on the field, what he did for the game, what his brother did for the game. And then you start looking at these shows and you'd be like, and then there's Skip Bayless, what has he done? Like, nothing. I mean, these people, these certain personalities have all this power, and they ain't busted a grape. They Doc Walker would say, they ain't busted a grape, but they got all the power in the world. It reminds me, you see these legends, Doc Walker, you see these legends who they played the game, had success on the field,
right?
Were idolized, were worshipped. They know that inside and out, but a guy that somebody just picked has more say, more power, more opportunity than they do. It's just, but that's the system.
But that's America. I think
that is America.
When I look at their sports show, I look at what America really is.
Yes.
The black athlete, the black person living it, the white privileged person could give you an assessment, an intellectual assessment on what he sees, and he could give you all these charts and graphs and stats, and that is what America is. That's kind of what a certain fraction of mid-America, Caucasian America is. There are sports analysts that sit back. So I think what I think their show is, I do think it's amazing, and I do think they play the race card great. They play the ethnic card great. They play the like it is definitely intellectual Caucasian guy, successful black, muscular athlete. I think they use that to their advantage. You know what I mean? And they know that every week they're going to get a reaction like that. To me, it's media gold when you really think about it, because no matter what, you're going to turn in every day to see, is this going to be the day Shannon goes off on him? You know what I mean? Like,
it's like the reality show formula.
Yeah, because yesterday people were waiting to see if Shannon was going to come on, and then Shannon didn't show up.
Right.
I'm like, man, like in my mind, I'm thinking that's pretty good. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to really be tuned in.
It's funny because, as you mentioned, man, the media gold piece, you're so right on with that. And if it's a reality show, whatever show you're talking about, if you don't have the compelling media, if you don't have the compelling people, it ain't gonna work. And it's interesting. I think some of the NFL broadcasts are in a tough spot, because now some people say it's all about the game, and it is pretty much. But have you noticed this? And I don't know, but it's the first time I'm saying it. First time I was curious, because a lot of the older teams, a lot of the older announcers are retiring. They have some broadcast teams that are maybe recognizable, but they do not have it for me. And it's funny. It really is funny, because some people hate the broadcasters, so they'll be like, well, it's about the game anyway. But I still feel like if you don't have a broadcast team that's compelling, I think it does affect the game, and I think it affects viewership in a way. So have you noticed that these new platforms, from ESPN to Prime, Amazon Prime, we grew up with certain announcers, and they're starting to get older or retire. And some of these teams, I'm like, lukewarm. And I have a conspiracy theory. Now, somebody who remember, Gus Johnson. Gus Johnson was super red hot, and now they use him. I think he's on Fox now, but he was so popular. He's on the damn video game. He's on the soccer video games, right? My theory, Bootsy, and I'm a conspiracy guy, was I think they purposely, and I have some insight into Gus Johnson. I think they personally took him off. He was going to be the next big star. And the thing about that thing is you're going to be there for the next 30 years. I think they tabled that a bit. I think they gave him another opportunity. He went and did soccer for a whole bunch of money when he was at his peak. I think they took him off because he would have been the John Madden. He would have been the Bob Costas. He would have been the the next generation's voice.
And in college, he's still that for college football. That.
Yeah,
he's still that. Now let's go back. I want to go back to your other point. Because I'm gonna give you my conspiracy theory about all of this. You say that it's about the broadcast, and sometimes it's about the broadcast of football. I do not believe that. I 100% think that is BS. It is I think two things that we got to realize what sports is today: entertainment, name recognizable, and looks. Number one, if you notice, every sideline analyst is what, man?
A woman.
A beautiful woman. Now, just ain't no woman.
Yeah.
Like, this is the model. Beautiful woman, recognizable personality, or good-looking Caucasian guy, Kirk Herbstreit. I can go down the line, all that. It is about what they think attracts middle America. Beautiful Caucasian white women on the sidelines, good-looking young boyish looks as the analyst. Because mind you, Kirk Herbstreit did not do nothing in college. Ask me how I know, because Sean Springs is one of my great friends who played at Ohio State with him. I can tell you what he really did there. You can even look at Chris Collinsworth, because something amazing has happened with Chris Collinsworth. His son is the lead analyst for college football. Did his son play any football? No, he did not. He just happened to have the last name Collinsworth. So I think they now have a model of what they're going to have for these football broadcasts. They found out what the model was, and anything in television, if it works, we just recreate it. So I think it's more of a strategic broadcast, how it's going to look, what they think is going to attract. We can even go back to the theme songs. I mean, college football, it's like what, 85% black. Every one of them got country songs. How many of them people you think listen to country songs? Hip hop, R&B, all that rules the world. So I don't think it's about that. I think they had a real strategic broadcast journalistic plan, and they're now replicating everywhere they go. And Gus Johnson was not in that. So we're just going to go somewhere else with it. And that's mind you, I watch sports football all the time. I got 3 betting apps. I was doing betting apps for 3 years. So I watch every one of them. I watch who they have on there. I watch if you're black, you cannot have so much personality. They're really scaling back on the African American John Madden swag thing. And that's what Gus Johnson was leading. Gus Johnson was becoming the GOAT. He really was becoming the GOAT. Right. So no, it's not about the production. We have a model now. We have a formula that we see work, and we're running that on everything. And that's my theory, Mr. Clark.
This is why I call him the secret weapon, ladies and gentlemen. Bootsy Vegas. I didn't know about anything about it. I don't know how we got into. We swerved off into sports when it's really going to be about Bootsy. But this is what makes this show. This is why our show is the top-rated show on streaming apps. That is a lie. That's a lie, but it one day will be true. Okay, so Bootsy Vegas. Now you are the young Maurice White. Okay,
the rebirth, baby.
The rebirth.
The effing rebirth.
I thought about you, Bootsy, because earlier this week we got the news, Bootsy.
Yeah, man.
And so tell us about now, first of all, is he related to Maurice White?
100%. He is 100%.
Give us the background of this gentleman that we lost this week.
Frederick Eugene White. He is the youngest brother of Verdine and Maurice White, and he was a child prodigy. The story goes, Maurice had went to his mom's house, and he was about 7 or 8 years old. And he said that there was some music playing, and he saw him banging on pots and pans, but he was keeping the timing really good. It wasn't like he was just doing it. Like, he was replicating what he heard. Maurice, and mind you, if you do, for people who want to know this is actually in Maurice's book. So he talks about this, but I kind of knew a little bit about it, before. So Maurice goes and buys him a drum set for that Christmas. He immediately saw it early. So he buys him a drum set, and this was like 9 years old. At 15 years old, going into his 16th birthday, he joins Donny Hathaway's band. So the live album that Donny Hathaway has was going on, that live album, that is 16-year-old Freddie White playing drums. And he won a Grammy for that. So he won a Grammy at 16. He actually won it. So he was a child drum prodigy that played with Donny Hathaway as a 16-year-old and was traveling the world. And it's interesting because Maurice was a drummer and he was traveling the world, but the fact that Maurice saw that in him early and invested in him. And Maurice was telling me how he would take him to his house on the weekends because he was living on South Shore, Chicago. He had a condo, and he would take him to his house and show him. And then years later, he puts him in Earth, Wind & Fire. And as you know, Mark, you know this, Ralph Johnson from Earth, Wind & Fire, the drummer, is one of my closest friends probably in the whole entire world. He is my son's godfather. My son is named after Ralph Johnson. So I kind of got a lot of insight on the whole dynamic of it. But what they called him was the human timekeeper. And when you hear that pocket in that groove, it was like Maurice had saw this earlier because he trained Verdine and Freddie as kids. He trained them. Louis Satterfield, who was the trombone player in Earth, Wind & Fire, was a bass player. He had him teaching Verdine in high school, and he personally taught Frederick. Freddie had a long career, but, you know, if you do read the book, Freddie got a little cocky. You know, he got it, you know. But, it happens in life and all that.
I mean, for God's sake, he had a Grammy at 16.
He had a Grammy at 16. But I'm going to give you some songs that you've been listening to that he's on. Let's Groove Tonight, that's him. Boogie Wonderland, that's him. Love Holiday, that's him. So when you hear him play, like when you hear Let's Groove Tonight, if you just focus on the drums, you will really hear it. So, man, only 67 years old, was a funny guy, was the life of the party type of guy. I mean, but let me tell you something. He lacked no confidence. Mark, he didn't lack no confidence in his talent. He had no problem telling you, my brother, what he was. If you wanted to know, he had no problem accommodating you. You know what I mean? But he was a great guy. And, you know, I really, you know, as I put in my post, pray for Verdine, because all 4 of his brothers have now passed away, and he's the last one. I was talking to somebody, you know, shout out to, you know, a famous singer who's Nat Raheem. And I was explaining to him that, you know, Verdine, I got to take care of, you know, because everything falls on him. You know what I mean? You know, there's another family he now has to take care of, and I'm just praying for him because Verdine is a loving, caring, sensitive, loving guy who wants to help everybody. And I, you know, it's just a lot. But man, some people come in this world and they find out really early what they're meant to do, and they hit it. And that's what Freddie did. You know what I mean? Even though you do not know him, you will be listening. Even with this Christmas, that's him. So you will hear him. You know, he did his job. He did his job.
Well,
I
mean, Bootsy, that was a great eulogy, my friend. Thank you so much. Bootsy Vegas, this is why Bootsy makes the big check on the show. And so, speaking of Bootsy Vegas, speaking of music, speaking of the rebirth of Maurice White.
NBA Young Reese now. That's my 2023.
As we wrapped up 2022,
yep,
the Crank Crusaders made an appearance on the radio. The Crank Crusaders featuring Raheem DeVaughn, giving it to the public. And we are blessed today to have a little bit for you.
Oh,
I don't think you're ready, people.
I'm not even ready. I didn't know this.
Let's enjoy a little bit.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Hey.
What we gonna do in 2023, ladies? Hey, let's tell them bye, bye, bye. Hey, 95.5. Go 95, we live. Hey, 2023. Help me sing the song, ladies.
Come on.
Hello, morning. When does the fun begin? Right here in
Hear me now? Now you talk.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, Bootsy, so amazing job. Just a little bit of that. So tell us about the experience. Tell us about where we can get the music. Tell us about the Crank Crusaders featuring Raheem DeVaughn for 2023.
Yes. So the album is available for free download on SoundCloud, The Crank Crusaders. We're currently putting it on all streaming forms or whatever, but it's available right now. The link is in my bio and on everything. And the other question was what? The just
2023.
Oh yeah, well, the experience was great. So we played 3 hours on the radio. We did a 3-hour set. We cut it in 20 minutes. So to hear, as you know, this started in my hospital bed. Like this vision, this conversation, what I thought he should do, it initiated when I was first diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. And I didn't know if it was ever going to happen. So the fact that we're here now,
come on
after,
now.
And I actually made a post about it. If you go to my post, I had showed a post of me in my hospital room, New Year's Eve 2019, when I was taking 12 pills and have to give myself 2 white cell shots a day to make it to the next day. So to start from there to where we at now is a great thing. Shout out to my sister Samantha, because we did a 5-song EP and presented it to Raheem. Me and her, we went and produced the EP. He said, okay, I get what you're trying to do. And now, we're here. And to hear it on New Year's Eve, after spending 3 New Year's Eves and Christmas in the hospital, it was definitely a different experience. I had to soak it all in. Last week was a great week for me, just in general. I told you this, but I got to spend a lot of time with my daughter last week. We just hung out every day. I took her to Kwanzaa thing, and just the excitement that people had about this coming out. So yeah, it was great, but it was an amazing experience. I'm trying not to get emotional about this, bro, but it's like, hey man, we here. Congrats to everybody. And it was an amazing experience. And I will say this, the response has been really great. Last 3 days, 6 dates came in the last 3 days. Lord knows I need the money having a 19-year-old.
Okay.
So let me just say that.
Bootsy, talk. I mean, again, I know you don't want to get emotional, but I'm trying to get you emotional. No,
you good.
Just from a real standpoint, Bootsy, I think, okay, at the end of the day, life, right?
Yep.
I think all of us have our struggles. All of us have our challenges. You have been in the space where many of us have not, where you had to stare death look at death face to face.
Mm-hmm.
Also, though, Bootsy, can you put in perspective? I think at the end of the day, a lot of times I think people fantasize. People almost feel like, yeah, I won't be happy until I get to this space. I won't be happy until I have this house, this car, I make this much money, I'm married to that person, whatever it is, right? But life, especially like you said, you were in that hospital bed. And so to go from the possibility of it being the end to then having an idea, a concept, a dream, and then have it come true, that probably is going to be as good as it gets in our lifetime.
Yeah, because believe it or not, I had 2 of them. It was Dean Wood radio broadcast, and it was the Crank Crusaders. And I do think part of it, and I know you would understand this because you live this, is we kind of live in our purpose. We live in our passion. You know what I mean? You do what you're born to do. There ain't no doubt about it. Mark Clark is doing what he was, as we talk about Freddie, you know what I mean? You know what you're born to do. You have an ability to bring people together. You make people feel comfortable. You bring work. But so we live in our passion and in our purpose. And I think when I got out, I only focused on living my purpose and my passion. I had 2 goals: send as many kids to college as I could for free from east of the river. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I didn't know who was going to help me, and I didn't care. I knew that when I got out, this was what I was going to do, and I was going to at least one more time create an album the way I wanted to do it, a go-go album. I wanted to do it the way I wanted to do it, and I wanted it to be in the image of what the conversation me and Maurice White had. Unknown fact, when I was in the hospital the second time, his book came out. So his life story, if you read his book, he tell you everything in it. Like, two people, if you want to know that life story, go read it. John Thompson told you on his way, because it's interesting that their books came out right after their dad. Like they got it all out, and it's like, it's over. But I saw my future in Maurice's book. I saw what I felt like I should be doing. I felt, okay, I have, for me, and I believe this, I know all these people, but what did it really benefit me? And I thought this when I was in the hospital. If I do go now, did I really do enough? Did I do all I could do to empower people around me? And I said, when I get out of here, I don't care what it is. I'm only focusing on what I want to do. My main mission is to make people look at go-go differently, give it a new perspective, but also reintroduce an art form that I feel ain't really been respected. And I felt like people were too scared to go outside the boundaries of doing it differently because we've been boxed in. And then I felt like, could I prepare the next journalists, the next wave of Black journalists who did not have insight? Now, the key point is you have a big to do with it because you empowered me through media. You and your wife did. I mean, I tell Allison this, and I know she think I'm lying when I tell her this. They would not have hired me without Allison and Seymour. They would not. I'm telling you. Like, I called her on Thanksgiving because I was telling her how great Ayanna was doing. I'm like, oh, she got a report card. And I said, oh, she got a 3.9. And she was like, yeah. And I said, oh, this is all because of you. But I've been lucky enough to be around the right people who understand what I'm trying to accomplish, and I stay focused on it. And for everybody out there, find your passion, find your destination, and be destined to get to it. Now, I never envisioned, I'm going to be honest. In my mind, I'm thinking, I'm going to get some kids to HBCUs, and I'm going to get their mind to lead. I didn't see Ivy League. I just had a student 2 weeks ago get a full ride to NYU. I'm like, for the third year in a row, everybody's going for free, and they're going to schools that I wish I could have went to. Can you imagine if me and you could have went to a program, got paid to be in the program, meet our heroes, and go to college for free? Can you imagine what me and you would have been? Me and you.
But you're doing it, man. But at the end of the day, you're doing it. And so, man, with that, Mr. Vegas, we're gonna wrap up on another song, again, from the Crank Crusaders featuring Raheem DeVaughn.
Go download it. Get my streams up. Come on.
Any parting words, Bootsy? We're just gonna play out.
No, man, just, thank you as always. Thank you for not allowing me to give up on these journalistic dreams.
Let's go.
I'm praying on that. I'm praying for this interview the next couple of weeks that's happening for somebody. I'm putting my fingers together for this.
Yes, it's going. We're claiming it already.
Because, boy, if I get in the mix in that one, he can take me now after that one. Baby. If I could get in the mix of that over there, woo.
All right, and we vowed that we're going to be consistent in 2023. We'll see you every week. We'll see y'all. So thank you for following us. If you haven't followed, if you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, whatever platform you're on, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, wherever you see us, because it's going to be a big year. We got a lot of big plans. And again, we're going to wrap things up again with the Crank Crusaders featuring Bootsy Vegas, Raheem DeVaughn, Young Marie, and what's the female singer's name?
Okay, let me give her an apology. Her name is Kendra, and I spelt her name wrong on the album credits, and she lit me up today.
Wow.
Oh my God, like, I'm about to go to practice later, and I really apologize to her. Somehow the wording and the credits got messed up, and they messed her name up, and she is furious with me. I am so sorry, Kendra.
And she killed it. She killed it, by the way. And I understand why, Kendra. I'm mad at him too. All right, man. Thanks so much. Appreciate you, brother.
All right.
Peace.
PPC.
what you need. Hey,
Hey,
95.5.
hey,
Hey, I got a woman
got a woman
way over time.
way over time.
That's good to me.
Hey,
Oh, yes, she is.
oh, yes, indeed.
I got a woman
I got a woman
way uptown.
way uptown.
That's good to me.
Hey,
Oh, yes, she is.
hey,
Huh. She gives me honey
she gives me honey
when I'm in need.
when I need.
Yeah, she's fat,
Hey,
fat as a rabbit. Yes,
but as a brother, yes indeed.
I got a woman
I got a woman
way uptown. It's good to me. Yeah.
Used to share.
I wanna drive
When
you,
you toss
I wanna
and
rock you
turn.
to sleep the right way, baby. What I'm trying to say is, yes, who loves you more?
Guess who loves you more than me? Guess who treats you
I said it's me,
better than
baby,
me?
baby.
that's right, me.
Give it a
When
great
you
now,
gon'
give
see,
it a great now.
wake
I
up
said I
and
love you,
see.
baby.
Guess who loves you more than me? Guess who treats you better
I said it's me, baby,
than
baby.
That's right, me. When you gon' see, wake up and see.
My love for you can never be measured.
No doubt
This girl
about
I treasure.
It's
Your
no
love
doubt
and me. My love will multiply for you. As long as the Father time is by my side, I'm gonna be right by your side.